My designer jeans. Well, if you're going to live as long as I am, you might as well be happy. My name is Thelma Schiller, but it was Thelma Rastad because my folks are Norwegian and they can't say THs. Just like the story of Thor. Everybody has heard the story of Thor. Well, it's not Thor, it's Tor. And so everybody called me Thelly or something close to that, Thel. And the kids at school finally thought it was so strange a name that they shortened it to Tillie. Well, I was born in San Francisco. My folks met and married in 1915 at the World's Fair out by the Presidio. I was born in California Hospital in 1919, December 31st, New Year's Eve. I've done a lot of things and I've had a happy life, real wonderful life. I don't want it to end. I don't do as much as I did, but I do enough. I have a lot of fun, have a lot of friends. Can't keep up with everything. I love to see the progress that the world makes. As I grew older and the world was inventing all kinds of things, I always was so interested in it that I always wanted to live to see that come into fruition.
What?
And especially the Tesla car, I was especially interested in. But I was interested in drones, I was interested in all kinds of things.
What would you want to tell younger generations that you think is important to enjoy a happy life? If you're a happy person, 100, 101, what things would you say are important to realizing that happiness, besides the designer jeans?
Be good to your mom.
Well,
obviously, you know, it's the same old story. You know, I mean, that's just going to be a repetition of the same old thing. You
what
know?
is the same old thing?
Be kind, you know, be kind and thoughtful and work hard and be good, and blah, 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 you know. I used to be a champ when we used to go to Camp Mather and all that stuff. And then I played a lot down here, and I beat that lady next door to me in Palm Springs. Thinks she's a big ace. Yeah, I love table tennis. I used to go to art class after we got here. Dad and I would leave every Friday and come up here. And we'd get here just in time for lunch, and I would make lunch and then go to my art class at 1 o'clock. And then I'd come home and fix dinner. But on the way home, I stopped and played table tennis for 20 minutes. And had a lot of fun. Even met people, and it was just a lot of fun. And then Saturday, Ginny of Ginny and Chad would meet me at the tennis court. We'd play our doubles matches. And then Sunday, this other gal picked me up in her golf cart, and we went and played golf in the morning, and then came home here and had chocolate shakes that were liquor in them. They come in a big thing like that at the store. I'll tell you about how I ran away with a little boy when I was 4 years old.
Record it.
No, she's not going to record. Lived on Crocker, Amazon. That was my first little love affair. I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
And we decided to run away
from home.
So I said, I'll go and get something out of the kitchen. I went and got a box of crackers. And so we went hand in hand over to the corner, and we crossed half the street because there was a park in the middle. And we went into the park where we were hidden. We sat there and ate the crackers. Naughty, naughty.
Why?
We were running away.
Oh, you were running away.
We were eloping.
This was your first meal on the run.
First marriage. I always wanted to dance, and my mother took us to dancing school, and I couldn't put my leg back and touch my head. And the dance teacher said she'll never be a ballerina. So my mother took me out of dance school. And oh my, I wanted to be in dance school. And so when we moved to Fifth Avenue, pretty soon it was time for kindergarten. And they took us over to the kindergarten and showed us, no, we went, then I went to kindergarten. And in kindergarten they were going to have a show. And this class that I was in, the girls and boys, I guess, or just girls, were going to do a little dance up on the stage with costumes on, like little buttercups. And, oh, I wanted to be in that so bad that I came home and told my mother I was in it and I needed a costume. And I knew exactly what I needed and everything. I was just into that dance so bad. So she sews the whole thing, ruffle after ruffle. And then finally the show time came, and I took my little ruffle outfit with me, and I hid it in the alley in my own house, and went to school and watched the program, wishing I was there. Came back to the alley, got my costume out and gave it to my mom, and said everything was good. I was lying at 4 years old or 5 years old. How old is kindergarten? Dave's mother told my mother a story that she never should have told her, and it broke my mother's heart.
What was it?
Yeah, it was a tale that happened before that anybody else would have laughed about, but my mother just felt terrible.
Is it still a secret?
Yeah, it was about going fishing. My sister and I went fishing while my father went fishing someplace else, and they gave us a safety pin on the end of our line, and we sat on this big boulder rock fishing all day like that. I don't know what we expected. We never caught anything. So it was getting dark, so we decided to quit. And we got back on the land, and these two guys came along, and they had a branch with fish, hanging through their mouths on it like that. About 6 fish. And they said, "What are you girls doing out here?" "Oh, we're fishing." And we said, "Oh, look at your fish." And they said, "Oh, you didn't catch any?" "No, we didn't catch any today." "Well, take ours. Tell your mom that you caught her. They'll be so pleased to find out that you caught the fish."
That's true.
And we thought, oh gosh, that'd be wonderful. So he said, "Here, take it." And then he said, "No, they'll know that you wouldn't have put them on the stick like this." It takes a little know-how to do that.
Experience.
So they gave them to us, and we had to take them somehow on leaves and stuff and get them back to the camp. So we did. Oh, my father told that story 100 times in his lifetime about how we went fishing and caught all these fish on a branch fishing line.
And carried him back?
And carried him back.
He believed it.
Yeah. My mother believed it and he believed it. Well, how else would we have gotten the fish?
Always fish.
And then Dave, my husband, told his mother the story, and she blabbed it to my mother.
Oh.
The end of the world.
So your mother finally found out the truth.
She found out the truth, but you know what she worried about?
What?
She worried about us girls having to hold that secret in us all that time away from their parents, for us.
But you weren't especially affected by it.
No, but
You were more affected by that.
She worried about that. She worried about how it must have been hard for us. Not that it was hard for us,
No.
but she worried that it
What?
was bad. The thing that stands out is that I ended up at Commerce, and that's the farthest thing from my talent is shorthand and machine the machines like computers. They had a big IBM machine that was about as big as a room, and and to me that was no fun at all. I was an outdoor girl from the get-go. My sister liked it, and she did well. They had two kinds of shorthand and everything available at that Commerce High School. So it was a good school, but I took gym classes because that's what I liked best was the outdoors.
Uh-huh.
But I was a naughty girl once and took too many days off swimming, and I was told that I couldn't get my block C because of that.
Oh.
And so I was very disappointed. And I found out that they had a dance program there. So I got into the dance program, and it was the happiest last couple of years at Commerce High School.
Did it turn out to be like
my husband Dave said that he would try to help me by making cards about if they asked for certain things, here's a card for it. If they asked for this, here's a card for it.
Like, for example,
Like,
2 adults and 1 child, or 1 teenager and 1 child, or something like that.
yeah.
Okay. So then it was different prices
So
depending on your age.
yeah, so I'd have the total. And nervous about everybody looking at me sitting in a glass box and doing something that I wasn't familiar with. Working there. It was just scary. About 38, 39. And people went to the theater. They didn't have television and all that. And so they went every Friday night. The line would be around the block.
Mm.
And and they would buy each other's tickets just to get in faster. And so they would have a whole slew of numbers to give me. And it scared me to death. And so my husband said, "Oh, I'll make all the possibilities for you to see 2 children, 4 adults, 2 lodges, and so forth. I'll give you a whole bunch of things, and then you just find the right card and you'll have the right answer." I was so nervous that I couldn't find the right card because then I'd have to read. So that wasn't too good. So I eliminated the cards, and then I would ask the person that's up at the window, and he's laying down some money. And I said, "Did you add it up? Do you know how much it was?" He said, "Yes, it's blah blah blah." He had it all out there on the counter. I said, "Do you know if it was a bill or something?" I'd say, "Do you know how much change you?" I don't know what I said, but anyway, it was really hard. And the line finally got into the show. And then, I don't know why I'm telling all my fallacies. I finally get through that part of the job and everything's quiet. And I bring in all the money and cards and whatever I have in the box office and bring it into the inner office. And then I have to put the papers in the typewriter and type up the report. I not only got the report wrong every night, one night it would be over, the next night it would be under, but invariably I'd get the carbon paper backwards. And I would type it on the back of the page.
Oh, you went to another theater?
No. I went from the Harding Theater to the Parkside Theater. I made a date with this fellow from Yosemite, and he came down to meet me at the theater and take me out after I finished work. And my boyfriend that I evidently had a fight with, he came to the theater also to take me home. So here I am with these 2 handsome guys in the lobby trying to make up my mind which one to go out with that night, which would be the right thing to do. Oh.
How did that work out?
Well, I stayed true to my future husband.
Oh, one of them was your future husband.
One was a swimmer at, it was very embarrassing. We bought our wedding rings together, and they were so unusual, we thought we'd buy them because we liked them. They were gold, and they were chains, link chains. So they weren't solid rings, they were link chains that you slipped on your finger.
Mm.
We thought it was very unique. So when the minister put it on the Bible, they just slipped right into the corner of the Bible. And you could see his face go, what's this? Didn't quite know what that was all about. That was kind of funny. Yeah, the wedding went off fine.
Yeah, some limited practical experience with each level of education there.
Mm-hmm.
And you decided eventually that you liked the high school better?
Well, that's what I started with, because I wanted to teach physical education, and that's where the physical education really was. My first job was substitute teaching, and it was a mix of junior highs, Presidio High, junior high rather, and the different schools around San Francisco. Whoever needed a substitute teacher. I started that way. And then finally, well, I got a school year at Lowell. A school year is like 9 months. And so I went there, and that's where I met Leah Bain, my very, very good friend. Mm-hmm. And then after then a new principal came in, and I got an offer to teach at Marina Junior High permanent. So I was there for 7 years. That was great. And then we moved. We moved down the peninsula.
So you had to switch
and
schools.
After a year, or no, it wasn't even a year. Well, I got a job right away because the school department wanted to try a 6-month sabbatical. They never had one given to the teachers before. So I was hired for 6 months at Cappuccino High School. Mm. And so that worked out fine. And then Hillsdale High School was a brand new school. And I went and applied there for a full-time job and got it.
When did you meet your husband?
He went to Lowell High School, but I didn't meet him until I was signing up for San Francisco State in 38, and I met him on campus. I met Dave during that first year, but it was in the cafeteria, and he was with his best friend, and they were looking things over. And Chad, his best friend, said, "What do you think of her?" pointing to me. "Oh, she's okay." And then Chad saw that he wasn't going to ask me out, so he asked me out. So Chad and I went out on a date, but he could tell that I had somebody else in mind. He said, "Is there somebody else?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Is it David?" And I said, "Yes." The end of my story of being 100 years old starts with the Domino Club giving my friend and I a video party, and C's Candy Company comes in with 2 boxes of 4-pound chocolates for each of us, and we sit there with that in our lap while the president of the Domino Club gives a little speech and a video about our lives from childhood on, and it was very, very nice and very important to us. It was fun.